G'day guys, it's Will here from rosebudmowers and mowermerch.com.au. Today we've got a 525 LST up on the counter and it's a bit of a rig rundown with this machine. They are becoming the probably most dominant contractor whippersnipper on the market, and for good reason. They're an absolute fantastic machine. They are light, they're powerful, and they've got great anti-vibe in the handles as well. Parts for a machine like this is incredibly affordable. Other brands that we've seen in the past, simple things like throttle cables or carburetors themselves, they were incredibly pricey. We're looking at, I think anywhere between 20 or 30 bucks for a throttle cable like this machine, and it literally takes a couple of seconds to do. Things like carburetors, 60 bucks. I mean, it's a great value machine, and they're really universal. Husqvarna's been using this 525 engine for a long time throughout their pole saws and their combi tools, hedge trimmers, etc. And we're a huge fan of it here at the shop. Anyway, we're not here to talk so much about the whippersnipper itself because everybody already loves and knows so much about this trimmer. What we're going to talk about is setting up a stick edger. Now, stick edgers in Australia are really hard to come by. Nobody really sells a dedicated stick edger. They're sort of more like an attachment-based system, or a lot of guys run Adams. A lot of guys do have storage issues with Adams and do struggle how to store them on their trailer. So here's a really cool alternative. So Husqvarna have just brought out their, well, a little while ago now, brought out their straight stick edger. It's their commercial edger, and I tell you what, they're an absolute animal of a unit. So for most guys out there, you can just bang this straight onto your 525 RJD. However, I have a cool little mod for you guys to do, and it definitely is, an awesome little modification to your 525 LST. So give us a sec, we'll set ourselves up and we'll show you what's going to go on. Okay guys, so what we basically have here is a 525 LST and the Husqvarna stick edger. Now, here's an alternative to how you would traditionally run this in, say, a combi tool. I, as a mechanic, don't always like multi-tools. I find that attachment points on any brand, be it, Stihl, Husqvarna, Bushranger, whatever, the attachment point is always a weak point. So if I can avoid any sort of weak point or where shafts connect to each other, I will. And this is a perfect example of one. Any guys that are really sort of dedicated with their edging and whatnot, this is an awesome little mod and can be done really easily. So let's say that your 525 LST, it's getting a little bit worn out. It's still a reliable unit, and you're just looking at upgrading. But you're also looking at grabbing a stick edger at the same time. So instead of just retiring that 525 LST, what we can do is basically turn it into a dedicated stick edger, and you can come in and buy a brand new 525 LST for your dedicated unit. You don't actually have to run this as a combi attachment as they're generally sold. So what you can pretty much simply do is, grab your Torx tool, and you can undo the stick edger itself off the shaft that they come with, and you can actually mount it directly onto the, oh, that's really tight, onto the shaft of the 525 LST. So a really awesome little mod, and then you have a dedicated unit to use as pretty much a stick edger, which you can run on your trailer all the time. Ugh, really tight. So the OEM shaft is just going to come out, and you're just going to then take off the gearbox assembly of your 525 LST. And like I said, you can run this as sort of like if your 525 LST is sort of getting worn out, run down, and you just want a brand new one and have all the power back of having that new unit. Or you can come in and buy a brand new 525 LST and do this and run a dedicated stick edger as well. So it's a really cool mod, I find, and sort of most of the time they're easier to store than something larger, like a Atom, for example. So we're just going to take off our gearbox, we'll slide off our guard, we'll put all that to the side, and we can just slide our stick edger straight on. It is the same spline pattern. Everything else is exactly the same. Make sure you're getting that spline pattern lined up. It's real tight because it is brand spanking new, and slides on just like so. And then you've pretty much got a dedicated stick edger. Now, one little key point that you've got to remember, with the gearboxes, you've got the guide screw that's on the side here. That's going to be in a different location to the stick edger. That's actually on the side. On the stick edger, it's actually going to be underneath. So here's a cool little tech tip for you. So once you've got your 525 LST set up with your stick edger, what you can do to mark a hole that you'll need to drill is just slide that guide screw back in until you feel slight amounts of pressure and just go half a twist more, okay? Don't over tighten it because you will strip it out. And what that's going to do is mark a hole. It's just going to slightly scratch the paint or the anodization of the shaft, and it's going to tell you exactly where you need to drill your hole. So if you slide that off, it's just left a slight mark there. So we know we can grab out a drill with like a 4 or 4.5 mil drill bit and drill a hole there. Slide that back on once we've drilled it. Make sure it's all lined back up. Okay, we're going to cinch up our screws, just like so. And again, now you've just got an awesome dedicated stick edger, okay? And it's an awesome little mod. Like I said, there's no adjoining shafts, nothing, and it's an awesome dedicated tool that you can chuck in like your Defender racking on your trailer, and then you don't need to swap any shafts out. It's just go-to, ready to go. And yeah, like I said, it's an awesome little mod. You can run it on sort of your backup snipper or one that you may be retiring, or a brand new unit like this one here. If you've got any questions about this cool little mod, hit us up, rosebudmowers, mowermerch.com.au. The question will probably get asked, can you actually do this with any attachment? And yes, you can. So the same rules apply for your hedge trimmer, a power broom, a pole saw, anything. You can actually have this set up for anything as a dedicated tool. Anything like your hedge trimmers or your pole saws, just keep in mind that you won't be able to run extensions on that if you do this mod. It's just more of a dedicated tool setup. But working for like a straight stick edger, it's the best mod you can do, and I'm a huge fan of doing it. Have a great day, guys. Hit me up, socials. Will from Rosebud Mowers.